All right. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? This is Black Manga Critic here, back with a just kind of another ramblings video, just kind of random, just kind of talking about whatever is sort of in the title, you know. So today we're gonna be talking about anime and manga, sort of like reactions. And it's just kind of be like and anything that's sort of like related to that. So it's not so much, this like super structured video, right? Because it's ramblings. Like ramblings is just sort of like my space to kind of just, say whatever about what I'm thinking about when it comes to the topic that I've, chosen to sort of put in the title. There's going to be I don't want to say a ramblings video. But it's gonna be another video that I'm working on at the moment, but it won't be a ramblings video. It'll be something else. Like it'll be something else. I'll title it something else because I think it deserves more than that. But this one is just sort of like talking about, thoughts on anime and manga, sort of like reacting, sort of like the experience of that, the sorts of like, I guess like pros and cons that kind of come with it, and also just like some thoughts about, where I would like to see it kind of go, I guess, and like what I would like to like what I'm sort of like looking into, what I would kind of like to see more of, and yeah, you know what I mean. Like I like, and obviously I already have an idea of like where certain responses to those thoughts are going to sort of go, but it doesn't like that's not going to stop me from like saying anything. I guess like to kind of think about it, I think the first thing to sort of talk about is like sort of doing that, like reacting to things, especially manga, anime, anime reactions. I don't have a lot of experience with because it's just so to me it's much harder. I think it's much harder to like, and it didn't used to be. I think now it's much harder to react to anime, right? Obviously because there's like copyright, like there's like the copyright issues, and you have to edit, and like you have to do so much just to edit your videos so that you can like put it out on YouTube and still somehow like keep it monetized. I don't know, and it, like to me, like there's clearly like so much that goes into it, so much editing and so much setup that you have to have to react to anime. Like, so that's why like you don't see me like reacting to certain anime. Like if it was up to me and I could react to anime and I could do that, I would have reacted to like when I started Chihaya Furu, I would have reacted to Chihaya Furu. When I started what's that show? Stars Align, I would have reacted to Stars Align. You know what I mean? Like there are so many shows. Like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I would have reacted to that. You know what I mean? The old school one, the 80s one. You know what I mean? Glass Mask, like Glass Mask, like there were so many anime that I would have started just like reacting to on a channel, right? But it is so difficult that for me, I'm just like, no. And also just because I'm a manga person, y'all already know this, right? Like there's a reason why it's like Black Manga Critic and not Black Anime Critic or whatever. Because I'm a manga person. I love manga. I love reading. I love writing about the stuff that I've read. So, like it's easier in some ways, right? Like in terms of like, you like it's easier to sort of avoid the copyright kind of issues if you know what you're doing. Like if you're just like reading an official like chapter or something like that, or something that comes out like weekly, like that's serialized, it's not really much of an issue. Like I've never had any issues with it. You know what I mean? Like my content, like I pretty much like react to like official releases. I always try to make sure like if I can't get a physical copy, that I use a digital. And it's like, and I think like, and I also don't like show manga panels, on my reaction stuff. You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing like reviews, then I do. Like if I'm like, okay, this is what's going on here, this is what's going on here, or if I do like a video essay or something like that, then I do, because like it's very difficult to like do a video essay or a review where you're like looking into particular things about a volume or a whole thing without using panels. You know what I mean? And I think that to me like pretty much constitutes fair use, where if you're using it for like educational purposes or whatever, so long as you don't use like 200 panels or something like that. You know what I mean? Or a whole volume or something like that. You know, like, or a whole something like that. But like to me, like it's a bit easier in that sort of way, where it's like people read manga like you sort of like, usually like when I'm reading I have a kind of voice in my head and I can hear like the words and stuff like that. And like in my experience, right, everyone has like different like reading experiences and stuff like that, right? Whether you're like able-bodied or you have a particular disability that doesn't allow you to read in the way that like like I can or whatever, so like it's pretty easy, more or less, right? It's just, but I will say there were some things about it that are difficult. I think anytime you're doing reactions, I think it's difficult, because in the whether you've been doing it for a while or you're just starting, there's always something in the back of your head where you always kind of feel like you're on in a way, right? So I think for me, probably one of the most difficult things about reacting to, I think, anime or manga is just, but especially manga, right? With anime, you're not saying anything, like not really. Like you don't have to read the subtitles or read the dub or anything like that, right? Like you can just kind of, you're just viewing and then you're like commenting here or there. And then you try to cut those videos to showcase when you're commenting on something or when you're reacting to something in a very like vocal sort of way. And with manga, you're reading that like that, like you don't just like sit there scrolling through reacting to manga. Like that's not how that works. Like you read everything. So I think one thing that people don't really understand is if you're just reacting to like one manga and you're reading it like maybe like a chapter every video, even that, like if you're doing that weekly, like even that can be like a little bit taxing on your voice. I think that's something that people really don't get. Like when you're reacting to manga and you react to a good number of manga, it is really, really, really taxing. It can be taxing on your voice if you're not used to like speaking a lot. Like I'm used to speaking a lot. Like my job like requires it. Like teaching, like you speak a lot. You know what I mean? You interact with students a lot. You're taking in questions and you're helping and you're doing all these different things and you're talking with administrators and doing whatever, right? Like it takes a lot. So that's one thing that I think people don't really think about. People don't really think about that. I don't know a lot of people that are like, oh man, that like right, like that don't do reactions, right? That aren't reactors. And think about like how stressful it must be on a reactor's voice to react to multiple manga, like daily. Like for me, it's almost like kind of like if I take a day and I'm like, man, I'm tired, I don't know if I can really do that, or it's because like it takes a lot of energy, and a part of that is how taxing sort of on your voice it is. There might be a day where I'm just like, I can't do that today because I got to make sure I save my voice. Or like there might be a day where like where I want to react to multiple things, but I got to take some time in between the reactions, because if I don't, my voice will not, it won't bode well for my voice. You know what I mean? So I think that's one thing that people really don't think about when it comes to manga reactions. It's not as easy as it sort of sounds, because again, if you're reacting to one chapter, then some people might be like, oh, you're only reacting to one chapter, but they're like, you have to always think about like how many pages are in that one chapter, how many times are you going to pause and comment on something that you just read in that particular chapter. It takes a lot of time, like talking, like straight up talking for however long the video goes on is very taxing. One thing, when I was reacting to Kingdom, oh my god, like Kingdom was probably one of the most fun, like one of the like best times I had reacting to manga, but it was also the most taxing on my voice. Like if like they're right, like I had streams that where I would be reacting to Kingdom chapters, and I'd be reading for like 3 hours. You know, and like that's why like for me, like I always make sure like I have some water or some tea or something when I'm reacting, because if I don't have that and I'm doing like a long reaction like that, my voice is gonna be like, it's gonna feel it. It's gonna feel it. Alita is another one where like I read for quite some time, usually when I'm reacting to Alita, because I'm always my streams are always, I'm for Alita, right? For Alita streams, they're always at least like an hour and a half long. You know what I mean? Because usually I end up reading like a bunch of chapters at once. I usually end up reading like 11 chapters or something like that, because the chapters are so great that I want to keep going. But that often means that I have to read for a considerable amount of time. And I'm someone who likes to like comment on things as I'm reading. Like I don't like to just kind of be like, all right, I'm going to read the whole chapter and then I'm going to comment and say everything that I want to say. Like I usually like when I see something, I'm like, oh, this is interesting because, and I want to talk about it. And then I continue on with my reading. You know, like some people might not like that, but that's how I feel about it. And sometimes I'll try to shift them from that, but that's something that I love to do, and I feel like is very natural for me. So I just kind of decided to be like, all right, I'm just gonna like do what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? So it's taxing. That doesn't mean that we don't, and that right. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy reacting to manga. I love reacting to manga. It's really fun. You get to sort of like, sometimes people haven't read the chapter at the same time. Usually, whenever people sort of come into the streams that I'm doing, usually people have read the chapters already. So so a lot of people are coming to sort of be like, oh, what's going on there? But right, and even within that, there's like a lot of like engaging with folks who are in the chat on top of reading the chapter at the same time. It's just like, again, it's taxing. So I think that's something that people really sort of don't think about when it comes to their sort of like opinions on manga reactors, or how they react or whatever, or why they might not come out with certain content at particular times. Like for me, if it's a Sunday, I know I have quite a few manga that I'm probably going to react to on a Sunday. So sometimes if I don't get to a manga on Sunday, and that Sundays are usually like weekly Shonen Jump manga, right? So if I don't get to a particular manga on Sundays, usually it's because it's going to be taxing to react to that many chapters on one particular day. You know what I mean? Like if I were to decide, like for now, right now, I have a backlog of Promised Neverland chapters. I have a considerable backlog of Jujutsu Kaisen chapters, right, that I have to catch up on because I just started sort of reading it. I have my Hero chapter that I get to every Sunday, Haikyu chapter that I get to every Sunday, and a Spy Family chapter that's like bi-weekly, but still, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think the one thing that some of y'all would realize is like if you do a lot of them, you'll see. If you try, it's like, and I'm not saying don't react to anime or manga or do anything like that, but what I'm saying is, if you go out of your way to sort of say like, okay, I'm gonna like start reacting to manga, and you try to do that, and you try to do multiple manga on the same day, you're gonna notice it in your voice. You're gonna notice it in your voice. You're gonna be like, damn, I need some water, right? Like your mouth might get dry. You know what I mean? This is gonna sound gross, but like there's like a little bit of like saliva buildup depending on like who you are. It's a lot. So you have to be aware of all those little things. And, read the manga. But, like, do I enjoy it? Of course. I love it. I love it. When y'all come through in the chat, you're talking, and it's, like, dope. It's dope. Which reminds you, let me share this video. Because I always forget to share it on Twitter. And YouTube is just terrible with their notifications. They're terrible. Terrible. Terrible with their notifications. I can't even. Like people will be like, "Oh, I'm so late," and I'm like, and the reason why people feel that way is because they didn't get the notification, and when they did get the notification, the notification will say, this person is live 19 minutes ago. And I'm like, 19 minutes ago? This person is live 45 minutes ago. I'm like, you like the notification you're supposed to tell us like right then and there. What are you doing? So, there's stuff like that. But again, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into it, into figuring out, and also like it's like the times. Can you fit in a certain amount? Right? Can you fit in a certain number of reactions within a certain time on a certain day? It's a lot. Like it's a lot figuring out what to do. But it's still fun. It's really fun. What's up, Justine? But it's fun. It's really fun. One thing I also wanted to kind of talk about is like, if you if you're like considering if you're considering, well, I'll say that at the end. I'll say that at the end because there are some things that I want to talk about that'll be related to that, but I want to get to certain points first. So initially, right, I talked about just like kind of the experience of like reacting to anime, reacting to manga in particular, because I react to manga. That's what I do. But like, right, 14 hours after it was uploaded, right? 14 hours. YouTube is wildin'. This is why like at the end of my videos and at the beginning of my videos, I always kind of say like, yo, like follow me on Twitter, because one thing I'm trying to do is like retweet as soon as I go live. I have to be better about that because sometimes I'll retweet and it'll be like 11 minutes into the video, right? But like, I want to do that because that's like for me, I often know when someone is streaming because they've tweeted about it, right? As opposed to a notification that I'll get or something like that. Like I'll get it done late. So I don't even bother like, dealing with like notifications anymore. You know what I mean? Like if I want to watch a Grapevine video or something like that, shouts out to the Grapevine. Like if I want to watch that, like I will get it late. I'll get the notification dumb late. It'll be like 30 minutes in, 40, 45 minutes in, something like that. And I'm like, I'm trying to be there live. I'm trying to be there when they're premiering live so I can talk to folks in the chat. But, it is what it is. Again, this, but the second thing I kind of wanted to talk about when it came to sort of this thing is like people's sort of expectations, people's sort of expectations of reactors. And I think there are different kind of expectations when it comes to anime reactors and when it comes to manga reactors. Like when it comes to anime reactors, this is something that for me, like it's one reason why I couldn't do anime reactions. Like I feel like it would just be a lot. Like I'd be pausing so often. Like I couldn't like, and I feel like I want to do it for people, but like I would be like, click, I pause and then I talk for like a whole like 3 minutes before I got back to watching the anime. That like, because that's what I do with my manga. Like right when I'm reacting to manga, I'd be like, okay, let's talk about this thing for like 4 minutes or something like that, and then I get back to reading the next page or something, and with manga, that's kind of fine because it's like, okay, the show isn't sort of going, there isn't like a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what to sort of talk. I know the word's on the tip of my tongue, but it's like, there isn't a sort of like it's not like, there isn't a lot of like, kinetic sort of like, sort of like movement in the same sort of way, right? Where it's like, and like kinetic, like energy sort of in the same way, right? Where it's like, you feel like the anime is moving and you kind of got to keep up with it and you got to make sure, you got to kind of make sure you don't miss anything. With manga, the manga's not going nowhere, right? When you're reacting to it. So you can just kind of sit there and read and if you want to pause and talk about something, you can because the manga's not playing along as you're watching, right? Like, and it's like, and I think people are more accepting of people pausing while they react to manga than anime. Like when it comes to anime, folks are just like, all right, I want to see you like folks have so many expectations for anime reactors. It's kind of like absurd. And I think they have somewhat similar reactions to manga reactors, but anime reactors for real. I applaud y'all, some of y'all, because like folks have so many expectations. Like they be like, you got to be this animated, right? Like you got to be this animated. You got to make sure you catch every single thing when you're watching a video that is constantly moving, right? Like in terms of an episode, you got to make sure you're like incredibly succinct in your thoughts as you're watching this anime that is moving, and you don't miss anything, and you're animated. Like it's a lot. Like folks don't really realize it when they say these things or when they think these things, but they really want you to be like an actor. That's what they want. They want you to like play a particular role. In some ways, it is kind of like that. Like, you know, you're playing a role in the sense that, you know, like you're right, like you're being like, you know, sort of like recorded by like your laptop and by YouTube and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, it's like it's a lot. It's a lot. You know? It's a lot. People look like, you know, and it's like in some ways you do expect that, but you also like just want to be yourself. And I think a lot of people have a hard time sort of doing that at first. I had a hard time doing that at first. I was just like, okay, what's going on here? Like, and I wasn't as like animated as I usually am. Like as a person, I'm very like, I don't know. Like I just like, you know, I like moving my hands. I like I'm kind of loud, I guess, in a way. Like I would consider myself to kind of be sometimes, like, depending on the situation, I'm kind of like a loud person. When I've like gotten out of sort of like my shell and I'm not shy and introverted and that sort of thing. But like, you know, people expect so much. And I think for me, I think as a manga reader, in some ways it's easier to sort of avoid that. Because anime reactors have, to me, are far bigger, right? They're far bigger for, like in terms of like audience and expectations and all of that. So if you're an anime reactor, folks are gonna expect like so many things. They're like, how come I can't see the anime? How come you know, how come like it cuts off every now and then? How come the camera's not the best camera in the world? How come you don't seem like you're super into it? How come you didn't notice that one random thing at you know, 18 minutes and 23 seconds? You know what I mean? There's like so many things that people expect from you. As an anime reactor, I'm like, oh my god, no. That's why like you will never, like, not that you will never see that from me, but if like it would like if it was, it would be like a Patreon thing where I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna only do this on Patreon, and I'm only gonna do this for folks who are at this particular tier, because the amount of effort and work that goes into that, folks really don't know. Folks really don't know how much effort and work goes into that. They don't know, right? I think some people do, but I think a lot of people don't. All right. So for me, it's a lot. You know, look, Alex, what's good? Yeah, I'm gonna put out a Hikaru no Go tweet tonight for chapter 10. And I'm trying to kind of do like every other day. So like Nodame is gonna be, so like it'll be like Nodame, then Hikaru, then Nodame, then Hikaru, like that until I'm done with both of them. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, because it's just kind of easier for me to kind of focus on one manga at a time. I tried to do two at the same day, and I was just like, no, like, because I had to like make like it was just too much on top of the reacting and on top of everything else. I was like, no. So today it's gonna be Nodame. No, today's gonna be Hikaru no Go chapter 10. Then tomorrow's gonna be Nodame chapter 3, and then it'll just kind of, you know, keep going like that every other day. So every day it'll be something, but and I still have a read them books tweet that I have to get out this week, and I have my poetry tweets that I have to get out this week. So it's like it's a lot, you know, on top of the reactions. So on top of the Patreon content too. So it's like it's a lot, but again, people expect a lot of things, and I think folks have to understand that we're not actors in that way. Some of us might be. Some of us might have like an acting background or a theater background and stuff like that, and that helps in terms of sort of doing certain things. But like anime reactions are out there. There's so many expectations. It's ridiculous. That's why you would never see me touch it unless it was a Patreon thing. No. All right, I would like to, but it's just so much. And I think with anime reacting, there's a lot that I think people don't necessarily expect. People don't necessarily expect you to sort of be on the level of like a King of Lightning, where you're like putting little edits and doing all that stuff and doing all these different things. I don't want to do that. That's not me. I have no intentions of doing that. There's no reason for me to do it, because that's not my personality really. I don't have that background in terms of like, you know, doing those types of edits and all that, all those different types of things. I don't want to do them. I'm not really invested in that. Right? I have my own way of doing things for the most part, right? That doesn't mean I'm not open to change, but I have my own way of sort of doing things. I react to chapters in the way that I want to react to the chapters. I have my personality, right? When I'm reacting, right? Like when I'm reacting to certain things, more of my certain parts of my personality will come out, right? When I'm reacting to other things, other parts of my personality will come out, right? It's like if I'm reacting to so that's something I also kind of want to talk about. So I want to kind of shift to like how sort of anime and like manga reactions kind of go when you're sort of being kind of like natural, at least to me. So for me, one thing that's really big about whenever I react to manga is that I think a lot of times some people will be sort of like the same when they're reacting to certain things. Sometimes it's just because they know that they are a personality, right? They know that they are a YouTube personality in a way. So that comes with a lot, and I think a lot of like the bigger like sort of personalities know that they have to be on in a particular way. Otherwise, their subscribers will react in a really odd sort of way where they're like, "Hey, what's going on? This is weird." Like, and it's just like sometimes if you're reacting in a certain way, that might just be you normally. You might like right for the big names. That just might be who they are normally. But if a reactor sees them shift, all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa, what's going on? I subscribed and I'm doing and I come to these videos for a very particular product and a very particular thing." And then all of a sudden your personality becomes a product and it becomes a commodity. And that's like, no. I try to avoid that as much as humanly possible. So for me, it's like when I'm reading sort of manga, I'm as natural as like it is, right? And the reason why, like, if you look at earlier sort of stuff, I might have been like not as animated and kind of like, right? But now I'm way more animated because I feel much more comfortable. Like I feel much more comfortable being on camera, talking to folks, doing all those different types of things, and and this is more like of like who I am. Like this is more like of who I am whenever I'm like talking with my fiance, I'm talking with friends or family, like my brothers and stuff like that. This is the kind of person that I am. Another thing to sort of note, Aga Rocks, what's good? Alex, shout out to Alex, shout out to Aga Rocks, shout out to Lady Justine. All right. And like for me, one thing that I think is also really interesting to note is when I'm reacting to certain, and I said this a little bit earlier, but when I'm reacting to certain manga, those manga will elicit certain responses from me based on like the content and certain stuff like that. Like so for example, like if I'm reacting to a meathead sort of like manga, and I call that a meathead manga, but like more something that's more like meatheadish, like where it's just like boom 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 rah rah boom pow, like that kind of stuff, and like that's it, and like that's kind of what I'm there for. Like let's say like a particular chapter or something like that. It's like very like action heavy in that way. Then I'm gonna be more like like I'm gonna be like like rah rah in that way. I'm gonna be like yeah, and that like that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm like yeah, like that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see that, right? And that's because that's how I am naturally whenever I'm reading a manga that is action heavy. It like on my own. If I'm sitting on the couch and I'm reading manga, that's what I'm doing when I'm reading manga, not on camera. I'm like, but even more so because I'm moving around, right? I'm like, yo, like I'm moving around the apartment, like, yo, like I'm doing all that stuff, right? Right? Like if I was reacting to JoJo, I would be like that. Like the action and all that. That's how I am with Alita. That's how I am with My Hero. That's how I am with Jujutsu Kaisen. That's how I am with those things. I'm like super animated with in that way, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm not super animated with other manga. Like it's just different, And I think like for me, when I'm reacting to something like Yona of the Dawn, or Paradise Kiss, or Your Lie in April, something like that, right? Like when I was reacting to Your Lie in April, way back, like I want to say at least almost maybe 2 years ago, something like that, right? Like you can check that out on the channel too. I react to all of Your Lie in April, not the anime, the manga, and it's different. Like I'm much more subdued. I'm like very pensive because I'm thinking about things, and like it depends, like because the content is very different, right? When I'm reacting to Yona, it's yes, like I can be pensive, but I can also be animated in a different way. Like if you watch my Yona reactions, if there's action stuff that's going on, I'm like, oh, but not as much. And also because there's a lot more sort of like character interactions in terms of personality and I'm really thinking about like, oh, what's this character thinking? How are they feeling? What's going on? A lot of it is very different. It's not action heavy. So like a manga like Yona, Parrot Kiss is definitely not action heavy. So I react differently. But the hype things that are and the hype right like the hype things that occur are very different. So if in something like Yona or Parrot Kiss, and when I say Parrot Kiss, I mean Paradise Kiss, right, by Ayazawa, who also wrote Nana, right? So when I'm talking about that, Chris, what's good? What's good? So when I'm talking about that, it's like Yona or Paradise Kiss, like the reason I'm very animated in a different way. I'm very much like, oh my god, like that's like when something happens, it's like some, let's say like romantic pairing, like a part like someone in a relationship and somebody cheats on somebody, or it's been revealed that this person was in love with this other person but is now with this person, and there was some like messy stuff that happened. Like, yo, like that's very like that gets me hyped, but in a very different way. It's like, oh my god, like what is happening right now? Like it's so different, right? As opposed to like, yeah, like it's like where I'm like, like where I'm just very different, right? The reactions are different. They are. And that's because those are like different parts of my personality. When I'm reacting to stuff like romance and stuff like that, like it'll hit me in a different way, right? It'll hit me, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart. Like if you watch a Yona or a Paradise Kiss reaction from me, I'm gonna be clutching my heart a lot because, yo, those two authors, all right, man, they know what they're doing. They know how to tug at your heartstrings. They know how to get you right here, in a very particular way. So if I'm reacting to Yona or Paradise Kiss or July in April, I'm like, oh, like, but I'm not usually like that when I'm reading like, more like meathead manga that's way more action heavy, that sort of thing. Sometimes I'm like that depending on the content, right? If there's a little bit of that content sprinkled in, then I'm like, oh, right, and stuff like that. But with Yona and Paradise Kiss and other mangas that are similar to that, I'm like an emotional mess like most of the time when I'm reading that stuff. And that's why for me, I think it's also really important that, I'm going to get into sort of like this next thing where, right, it's really important for me to be as close to who I am as humanly possible. Right? Yeah. And with manga, you can definitely savor the moment in a way that you can't, it's hard. It's very difficult to do with anime. Right? Because I find myself, right? Like when someone, like if I'm watching like an anime reaction, I find myself like skipping like a bit. And because I'm looking for the part where, the person reacted to the thing where a person like, stabbed that dude and like, and it's like, and I'm looking for like the reaction from that anime reactor. And it's just very different, I guess. But with manga reactors, I'm watching the whole thing. I'm like looking through it because it's just, I don't know, it's just very different. It's very different for me because usually there's just like maybe more things, or I'm looking forward to seeing like their reaction to like the entirety of it as opposed to, I don't know. It's just very different. It's just very different. I like skim more with anime reactions than I do with manga reactions. With manga reactions, I just kind of sit there and watch it. The anime reactions, even if someone like pauses, I'm like, all right, I want to see you react to them. Like, but with you're right to the anime. But if it's a manga, I don't do that. I'm like, okay, I just kind of go with it. Maybe it's because I react to manga and it's like a thing where I'm just like, oh, if someone was watching, I'd want them to react to like all of it. But it's whatever. Me personally, I'm like, okay, but whatever. So the next thing I kind of want to get into is like, for me, reacting to, right, as a manga reactor, reacting to different manga or different types of manga is really important because it allows me to be more of myself. Right? I'm gonna say that one more time. I'll say that one more time. I might tweet this because like I think it's something that's really important to me, and I didn't really realize that until I started reacting to different types of manga on the channel, like manga that elicit different like responses from me and important responses. Like, it's important for me to react to different types of manga on the channel because it allows me to be more of myself on the channel. That's really big. I think a lot of people don't like. I won't say that because I feel like some people can be themselves, but I feel like a lot of like I do feel like the bigger you become as a particular personality, the harder it is to be yourself. Harder it is to be yourself. And what usually happens is there's some like, you know, messiness that occurs where your reactors are like, what happened? You used to be this way. You're fake, blah, 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 blah. The inevitable, right? The inevitable. And for me, I'm always trying to avoid that because I'm like, no, what you see is what you get. That's what you're going to get in real life. That's what you're going to get here. Like, I am animated, and when I'm like, and like, right, like when I'm happy and I'm like really in like a good mood and I'm like, you know, good, and I'm just good. That's who I am. Like, I react to things. I'm laughing all the time. I'm really, I don't want to say bubbly because I feel like bubbly is like a very particular kind of thing. It's like a cutesy kind of thing, and I want to say that's me. But like energy, I guess. Like, that's who I am, you know? And I think that's the thing, right? It's like react, yeah, right? Like, Alex, react to what you love. I think the more you react to like the things that you love, the more yourself you can be on the channel, and the more people kind of see that, you know? So like for me, I like a lot of different types of series. So in the future, one thing I'm planning to do is one just to make sure that I'm reacting to only like a certain number of manga like per week. And I'd like the number to just be like, all right, I'm reacting to one manga a day. And it'll be like a few chapters a day. And that's something that I'm kind of like trying to make sure that I do. So like for me, I love action heavy manga, and I love, you know, psychological sort of dramas, and, you know, horror stuff, and apocalyptic kind of stuff that has some sort of hope. If it doesn't have hope, I don't like it. Like, if it has no hope, I'm like, no. I'm not reading that. I don't want to. Okay? But like, it's much easier with manga. It's much easier for me to just be like, I want to read Paradise Kiss. That's what I'm going to do. And I have a fun time doing that. You know, and like, I'm really looking forward to Thursday because I got to a point in Paradise Kiss where I was like, yo, like the messiness of Ayazawa manga. The messiness. Ooh, it's so messy. I love that. I love it. Because it kind of gives me that stuff that I don't necessarily get from certain shows that I watch or certain manga that I read. I love a good romantic mess when I'm reading. I love a good romantic mess. I do, right? Even though I'm like, you cheater, like, right? Like, even though I'm like, oh, you cheated, like, you're terrible, you like, but I like that messiness when someone's like, I'm gonna keep cheating. Like, yo, it's so messy, so messy. I love that stuff. So that's why, like, for me, like, I didn't get to react to Nana on the channel, like the manga, because I had already read Nana, right? I'm actually currently rereading it. I'm not gonna tweet about that because there's just too many chapters, and like I'd be tweeting about it for forever, and I'm not gonna do that. And I already have manga that I'm doing. What I might end up doing is, once I'm done with the reread, I might tweet about Nana and talk about why I love Nana in a thread or something like that. I might even do a video on it, but not at the moment. I'm just enjoying the reread. I'm just enjoying the Nana reread. It's so good. It's so messy. If you haven't read Nana, go read Nana, okay? Because it's amazing. It's one of the best stories I ever read, period. And it's so messy. It's so messy. All right? Takumi is trash. All right? Both Nanas have so much mess that they got to deal with. But Kanana Komatsu in particular, oh my gosh, she's so messy. Nana, the other Nana, right? Like, I can never remember her actual name, but like, she's also messy, but in a very different way. It's like a quiet sort of way. Nana, like, right, like prim and sort of like proper kind of Nana is messy in a very like loud kind of way. It's weird. But it's just so, I love it. I love messy stuff. I love messy, like, romance comedy stuff. And I love reacting to that because, again, that's a big part of my personality. I love that stuff. It makes me upset, makes me angry, makes me, you know, devastated. And there's just, like, a range of emotions that I get from that in a very pure sort of way, in a very, like, direct sort of way that I don't get from other types of manga that I'm reacting to on the channel or that I read. So I'm always trying to see if I can do something different. One thing that I kind of want to do is, I want to see if I can make sure that it's sort of like a half thing that's sort of going on. I always sort of want to be reacting to manga that like people want to see me react to, but I also want to react to manga that I want to react to. I wanted to see what Paradise Kiss was about because I loved Nana, and so far I really love Paradise Kiss. It's messy in the way that I was expecting, and I'm like, yes, you know. So like, yeah, same thing with like Yona. Yona's messy and Yona's not like messy in the same way. It's not messy in the same way, but it's different because it has like, it's kind of like the best of kind of both. It has that romance that I really like, the little bit of a comedy that I really like, and sometimes it's action packed, and like, there's certain things that are happening that you would call this sort of like an action sort of thing, action sort of narrative, and it's cool. What I also like about stuff like Yona is that Yona's, stuff like Yona and also Paradise and other sort of like shoujo and like josei sort of types of manga, is that they're very much so about those, like, about relationships and the growth of those relationships, and the growth of their characters are really crucial. Like, it's crucial to those stories. Like, you can't be like, oh, I've been reading Nana and nobody grew, nobody changed. Like, no, that's absurd, right? Nana like hinges upon characters going through very emotional particular experiences that change them in really dramatic ways, and hence like drama, right? Hence romantic drama, right? Romance and drama. Same with Paradise, same with Yona. So like, Yona gives me that, and when I'm reading a chapter of Yona or a few chapters of Yona, when I'm reacting to it, I know I can expect that. I know I can expect Taijun to like. I know I can expect something like Taijun changing in Yona in like from like, scumbag dude to like, now I'm trying to help folks, and I'm trying to show the soldiers under me that I can be someone that cares about people, and that in turn inspires them to care about individuals as well, and respect Taijun as an individual. Like, it's like, right, and it's not just like, oh, here's Taijun and he's like swinging a sword, and because he's swinging a sword, now I respect him. It's very different, and that's why I love reacting to those manga, because I'm like, damn, and I'm, sometimes I'll just be like, yo, that's so cool, and I talk, I think, and with those manga, a lot of times I talk way more while I'm reacting to those manga, because I'm like, yo, this is like, there's a lot more to sort of like parse through, Monster I want to get back to. This Saturday if I can, but I got the Hunter streams on Saturday as well, so I have to figure out where I'm gonna like fit Monster in, and I also have to like read more chapters when I'm reacting to Monster. But it is what it is. But Monster's like another one where it's like it'll get a different reaction out of me. Where Monster, I'm very subdued. I'm very subdued with Monster. I'm like, I'm also holding a book because I have the paper copy, but I'm also reading it, and I'm just like, damn, like, and I'm thinking about things, and I'm trying to work through things, and it's a very like it's a manga that makes that leads to a very sort of like pensive experience, where you're constantly sort of like thinking about different things and different plot, not even necessarily plot threads, but just like, different like why a particular character did committed a particular act, and what does it mean when a certain character says a particular thing. It's a lot. Monster looks great. Monster's definitely a manga that I definitely recommend. I love Monster. So far, from what I've read, I really like it. Actually, my friend Jackson is reading Jackson P. Brown. Definitely follow her on Twitter. And she's got a blog where she writes about on manga and amongst other things. But like, she's currently reading Monster right now and really liking it. And it's great. The art is great. It's dope. It's good. It's good stuff. So from what I've read so far, but like, again, like different types of manga elicit different responses from me, and those responses are really sort of integral to who I am, and they allow me to sort of be more of myself. So it's really important for me to read different kinds of manga, even if it's not popular, right? Like, and I think that's really important. It's like with anime, man, if you react to an anime that's not important, that's not like it at a particular moment, folks are gonna be like, yo, why are you like, and you're a big channel, folks are like, what are you doing reacting to this rando anime? I want you to react to Demon Slayer. And I'm not with that. that ain't like, I'm not with that. You know, like I'm always asking people like, what would you like me to check out? What would you like me to like, react to in terms of a first chapter, that sort of thing. And I'm always up for that. There were manga that I've reacted to in the past for the first chapter where I kind of decided that I wanted to read them on my own and not react to them. Aka 13 is one by Natsume Ono, who is a dope manga, by the way. I love Natsume Ono. She's great. What else? March Comes In Like a Lion was one that I love, but I didn't want to react to that because I felt like it was something that I just wanted to read on my own, and that was the right decision. So there are manga that I've definitely reacted to on the channel, and I've just been like, you know what, I'm gonna read that on my own. Goodnight Poon Poon is another one by Inu Asano. That's another one where I was just like, I read a few chapters on I think the first like 5 or 10 or something like that. And I was like, this is cool, but I'm going to read this on my own. Because I wanted to read it on my own. And, they're still on the channel. Like, the Goodnight Poon Poon reacted to those first 10 chapters. March Comes In Like a Lion reacted to, like, the first couple of chapters. Aka 13, the first, like, chapter. So, like, those are still there. And I haven't removed them because it's just like, they're there. But, like, for me, again, it's really important that I react to the things that I want to react to, but I also want to make sure that I'm like aware of what y'all would like for me to, react to and what y'all would like me to check out. And I always write those things down. I always have like a list of stuff that y'all have written. Well, not written, of stuff that y'all have like mentioned, and I have that list. And there are things that I definitely want to get to, but there are always different reasons for why I may want to get to them and why I may not want to get to them. So it is what it is. But yeah. Let me see. Yoshihiro Tagashi said that Monster's artwork pushed him to try harder on Yu Yu Hakusho because he thought he could never draw like that. Yo, and you can kind of see that there were like moments in Yu Yu Hakusho where like the art just like where it's like Tagashi took his time with like a particular panel, like when like there's like there's certain panels where like he draws like Toguro or Yusuke or Sensui or Chu or Hiei or like certain characters and certain characters and you're like, damn, right? Keiko even, and you're like, damn, he really took his time to draw those particular characters in those moments. It's just great. But like this is a big it's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for me to make sure that I'm reacting to the things that I want to react to. And again, because I have very like I want to say like my tastes are varied, I guess. So I always kind of want to make sure that like the channel reflects that, and I'm always thinking like, okay, am I reacting to too many like action heavy sort of like series? Can I like make and that's why I was like, all right, you know what, I think maybe I am, and I need to like shift. And so now let me shift to Monster, let me shift to Yona, let me shift to Paradise Kiss, let me shift to Basara, let me shift Basara, let me shift to those things. And Basara will come back once I'm done with Paradise Kiss. I'm gonna switch that with Basara. Like that switch will happen. And once I've caught up with Yona, then I'll add like a different series, and I'll try to like I'll try to make sure that I stay caught up with Yona, or I'll just wait for like another volume to come out every month, and then every month, and then like Yona will be like a monthly reaction or something like that, But like. For me, excuse me, it's just something that's under my eye. Gotta make sure this isn't gonna bother me for the rest of the stream. Okay. But like, it's really important to me that I react to different types of things. I like it. One thing I also wanted to say, this is the last thing I wanted to say. And this is probably the most, well, two things, but this is kind of like the last thing, and then the last thing is sort of like a addendum, I guess, or something like that. But what I wanted to say with here is, when it comes to the expectations, and kind of going back to that, this is something that really kind of bugs me, and this is gonna sort of be like part of a big reason why I wanted to do the rambling stream. But like, I hate it. I hate it when individuals comment on certain things in whether it's an anime reactor or a manga reactor on their channels, in their comment sections. I think one of the comments I hate the most, besides like bigoted comments, right? Bigoted comments are just like, ugh, disgusting. But the comments I hate the most are the ones by individuals who might not necessarily realize that they're being extremely pretentious about what they're sort of saying, right? So like, they'll write a comment like, oh, I hate it when reactors miss, this key thing and they just don't miss it. And I'm just like, why are they, why are they so stupid, or why are they so dumb, or why don't they like pay it better attention, blah, 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 blah. I hate those comments. Those comments get on my damn nerves. And for two reasons. One, because most of those individuals that are like, you didn't catch that when they were reading it the first time, or when they were watching it the first time. They didn't catch it. Somebody told them, and then they were like, oh, right? And they got to experience that off camera, right? They got to experience that off camera. And so when they come to your channel, or they come to someone else's channel or whatever, they're like, you didn't catch that? Come on. You know what I mean? Just mad, just extra, pretentious. Just like, stop talking, man. And it's usually a dude. I don't know if I've ever seen I'm not saying that I've never seen it. I might have seen it a few times, but usually it's dudes, right? And they're like, you didn't notice that? Ugh, come on, pay better attention. Come on, man. Like, you guys got to pay way better attention. Like, shut up. You know what I mean? I hate that. I haven't got to it yet, but you know what? I might get to it tomorrow. I'm gonna get to it tomorrow, and then I'm gonna let you know what I think about it. But I looked it up, and I know that I have access to it, so I'm definitely gonna watch that. But like, so I'll check it out tomorrow, and then I'll let folks know how I feel about it on Twitter. So I'll do that tomorrow. I'll like take some time and just be like, all right, I'm gonna watch this episode. I'm gonna watch these episodes, like maybe like 2 episodes, and just kind of sit and do that. Like with anime, I'm terrible. I'm like awful when it comes to anime. Sometimes I'll start something and then it'll be like weeks before I get back to it. I'm like, ugh, but I hate that, it's just like, right? They didn't notice it. Most of those folks did not notice the thing that they're complaining about. They didn't notice it, but they want to seem so smart and so aware. And, and for me, it's like if I'm watching something, like if I was watching something, I would definitely miss something. When I'm reading something, I will miss something not even more, but it'll be different, I'll definitely miss something, but usually what'll happen is if it's not like a visual thing when it comes to sort of like the art, it'll be like something in like the language where maybe I misinterpreted something or something like that, and then I'll miss something. For me, I am totally fine with that because I'm gonna reread the thing anyways. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be there. I'm not gonna lose access to it. It'll be there. I'll come back to it. So it's like, there are ways to there are ways to comment on that without being a jerk, right? Like there are people who do that all the time when I'm reacting to something and I'm reading something, right? And I'm reading something, in stream. With like I have like folks like Justine, who'll be in the Alita chat. She'd be like, oh, did you notice that thing over here or that thing over there? People will comment on my video where they'd be like, oh, in this instance, this is kind of what was happening over there, and they'll do that because they know that I've either asked them to like say something, or or it's because they know how to respond and they know how to they know how to like talk to me in a way that doesn't insult my intelligence or something like that. So I think some people are just really bad at that. Some people are just need some work on it, and it bothers me because there's a really ridiculous level of pretension that comes with that, and I'm like, y'all didn't notice that. Stop it. You didn't notice that really obscure thing that was like, oh, Oda was referencing this, this work of art that was You didn't know that when you read it the first time. Stop lying. You a liar. I hate those folks, man. You know what I mean? You're a liar. You know? I hate that. You didn't notice that. You didn't know that. You didn't get that reference. Stop it. You didn't get that reference. Somebody from some forum sat down and took their time to figure out maybe this reminded me of a particular thing, and then they did some research and they looked into it and they were like, oh, maybe this is related to this. Right? And it's like, and then what's even funnier about that is sometimes where they'll say, oh, you didn't notice this thing, and it's not even, and that wasn't even actually a thing, and it's like nonsense, you know? Get out of here. I hate, like, oh, that stuff gets on my nerves, man. It gets on my nerves, y'all. It really does. It's like, stop it, please. You know? Ugh. So that's kind of something, right? Because, like, manga reactors don't deserve that. Anime reactors don't deserve that. You know? And again, there are ways to interact. You know? There are ways to interact. For me, it's just like, you know, yeah, I think, like, you know, for me, it's like, I think one thing, if I'm watching a reactor that I know personally, it's even more likely that I'll read their comments. One, because usually there'll be people in the comments that I also know, and then two, because I want them to know, like, hey, like, if I saw something and I'm like, yo, some like, you know, like, right, if I see something that's like, you know, really terrible or like awful, then I might respond to it and be like, yo, you need to go somewhere else with that nonsense. Get out of here. You know what I mean? And then I'll do that. But I think here with my channels, like, there aren't like too many comments. But, like, you know, with my friend Ash, that happens all the time. Where he'll get very, like, you know, just like awful, like, he'll get like awful comments, you know, and he doesn't deserve that, you know. So sometimes I'll just be like, yo, what's going on here? I think one thing I'll do in the future with his channel, I'll just be like, okay, you suck, get out of here. You know what I mean? So I just might do that to, like, every person that, like, doesn't treat Ash with the respect that he deserves. So, you know, but because I like, folks know I can be petty, and I don't mind that. All right. So I can be petty in that way when it comes to, like, my friends and, like, defending them. I can be very, very, very petty. All right. If someone does something to my friend that I really don't like, I'm gonna be petty to the end of time. You know. So that's, you know, so that kind of is what it is with that. I think the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is, you know, again, but before I get to the last thing, just like expectations, right? Not just the comments. Shh. Hey, Nina, come here. Okay. But, like, you know, it's like every community has stuff in there where you know, folks are just doing, like, too much, and they're doing the absolute most, and they gotta relax. And it's just really toxic. But, like, you know, again, like, I think anime reactors have its, like, particularly badly because they're usually reacting to things that have massive fan bases. You know, it's rough. It's rough. It is rough. If I was reacting to the My Hero anime, oh, the comments I'd be getting, the people be like, oh, you didn't notice this thing, or, you know, this is the reason why, or spoilers, ugh, you know. But with manga, folks don't spoil anything. Folks don't spoil anything for me. Folks really don't. They've been really, really good about that. You know, I think people that watch manga reactions are a lot better about not spoiling something, and like in the comment section. You know, unless it's a big thing. Like, if it's like One Piece, like if it's like a One Piece manga, that, like, One Piece is so massive that it doesn't matter if it's the anime or the manga. People will just be jerks and spoil things anyways, you know. And I've talked with, like, big reactors, you know what I mean, like who have said, like, they hate that stuff, they hate it, you know. But I think, you know, like, moving on from that, like, I feel like when it comes to sort of anime reactors, like, if you're reacting to, like, a big thing, if you're reacting to, like, a big entity, like a big title, you know, with a massive fan base and people who are very passionate about the series that they love, you're gonna get a lot of folks, right, who are just great and really cordial and nice about nice in their interactions, and folks who are terrible in their interactions. And not just, like, the sort of pretentious nature of it, right, or the sort of spoilers, but they want you to they want you to work on your content in the way that they want, period. Right? Right? In the way that they want, period. As if they're like sponsoring you or something, you know, and they're paying you like millions of dollars. It's like, yo, you know, it's like, yo, there is no way that you're gonna like sit there and just be like, oh, because, you know, person A said, hey, when you edit the episodes next time, could you make sure that every edit is the biggest moment that happens in every like, do you know how much work it takes to edit? Especially if you don't have someone that you're paying, right? A lot of reactors don't have people that like, right? They do that themselves. They do the editing themselves, right? Bigger reactors usually have someone that they do that, where they get the edits done for them. But usually you do that, right? You do that yourself, you know? It's just a lot. I'm like, I'm not trying to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. So for me, I'm just like, I'm reacting. I'm not editing nothing. I'm not doing that unless it's like, you know, like right when it's like a review or a video essay or something like that. Then yeah, I gotta put in some work and I gotta make sure that, like, you know, things move in a sort of smooth fashion. But you know, it's just very like different. It's very different. People expect a lot, and they don't want to support you in a way that what's the word I'm looking for? They don't want to support you in a way that justifies their ask, right? So that's why, like, I see a lot of that with bigger YouTube reactors that I know personally, and I'm just like, ugh, disgusting. You know, folks just gotta like stop. Just, you know, like it's not right. It's not to say that you can't make any, you know, requests. It's just that, you know, some requests are ridiculous and you shouldn't make them unless you are willing to do particular things. And even then, there were some requests that are just ridiculous, right? And regardless of if you're, you know, supporting a reactor in a certain way, it's like, no, I'm not going to do this thing or this thing because your ask is like absurd. You know, like, I'm not going to like bark like a dog on, you know, on a video because you're supporting me on Patreon. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Last thing. And this is going to be pretty quick. I feel like, you know, if you want to start anime or a manga sort of like YouTube channel, to me, I think it is easier if you just kind of like, you know, start with like manga that, start with like a manga that you are really looking in, like, that you're really looking forward to starting. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that was like suggested and you want to start a channel and you've never like done that kind of content before, it's much better if it's with something that like, right. It's better if you're like, if you want to do like reactions and stuff like that. Sometimes it might be best if you don't do live streams, but you just record at first, right? And then you upload your reaction, right? So it's live, but it's not really live. You know what I mean? It's not really like, it's live in the sense of, like, it's live in the sense that, you know, it's like, here's you reading this thing, but it's not live in the sense that it's not like at that moment as the people are viewing, right? So, you know, I think sometimes it's best to like maybe to just like start with a recording. You know, get in front of the camera, get comfortable with that, get comfortable seeing yourself on a camera. And I think like the setting is also really important. Like, you want to kind of like, you know, for me, like, I'm always just like kind of in my living room, right? Usually when I do live streams, when I do reviews and video essays and stuff like that, I'm usually in my study. I'm usually in my study at my desk, and that's what I'm doing there. They just have different vibes, you know. But like, you know, and also what you notice is that in the past, when I put out reviews, I was much more like, you know, hello, what's going on? Like, it was just more it was more rigid in a way, because there was a way in which I was sort of trying to like be taken seriously. But in this live stream, I'm not. That's not to say that I'm not trying to be taken seriously, but I'm just like I'm vibing, and I'm trying to be as much of myself as I possibly can. So I don't want to be rigid, I don't want to be rigid. Um, yeah, So like, if you want to start a channel, you don't have to have a banner necessarily or anything like that. But I think it does help to give you like a bit of confidence to have like a banner and to have a symbol and stuff like that. And there are websites where you can like make those things for free. Like currently I commissioned a banner somewhere, so I'm like waiting for that. And it's like but that took me a while. Like it's been like I think I started the channel like 3 years ago. So it's like, I had a banner, but it was like it was like for free. Like my logo, I made that for free. Went to a site, free. So there are things that you can do pretty quickly. And do you need thumbnails for all your videos when you start? No. I mean, it helps if you're looking to do certain things. But if you just want to start a channel just to kind of interact with people and to do certain things, then just start. Just start. Record a reaction to something that you that you feel like you'll really like. The first chapter, and then say have some thoughts on it, and then once you're done with the recording, then you can edit it in in a certain way. You can edit it in a way that you feel like makes sense for you and that sort of thing. And I think that and the more you do that, the more comfortable you are on camera. For me, it was like I was doing reviews and I was like, oh, these reviews are cool. And then once I decided that I wanted to do live reactions to things and do videos to things, I had to figure out, okay, how am I gonna do the live reactions? So the hardest part about that wasn't that I wasn't comfortable on camera. It was that I needed to figure out how to do the text part of it, like the text stuff. That was difficult. And there were videos for that. There are videos all over YouTube for that. Like how to live stream on YouTube using OBS, or how to live stream on YouTube using, whatever it is that you're going to use, like StreamYard or whatever it is that you're going to use, and there are tons of videos that are really helpful. Some videos aren't as good as others. Some people just like are not clear in terms of like their instructions. Like they will literally say something that, that hasn't been clarified in a way that it needs to be for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So yeah, I need some water. So that's a big thing. So I think like, if you want to start a channel, figure out what you want to do. Hello. Okay. Hey, what's up, Money Hayes? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Good luck at work. All right. But like, when you start, just, create a channel, give yourself a name, give yourself like a basic sort of name if you want to do that. If you want it to be clever, think about it, make it clever. And then, think about what you want your content to be. You want it to be live streams, think about what you want to react to. Or you could just talk about stuff and just like, have people that you want to talk about that with. If you want to do if you want to do live streams with like multiple people, it's harder to do on YouTube now because you have to have like the streaming software for it now. But most of that stuff is free. You don't necessarily have to pay for any of that stuff. And yeah, so you do that, figure out the tech sort of parts of it, figure out what you want to react to, figure out what you want to do live, or figure out what you want to upload. Figure out what you want the name of your channel to be, stuff like that. And then once you kind of get in the groove, what happens is you start to think about the other things of your channel, like the stuff that like you're like, oh, I kind of need it to be neater now. Like I need to make sure that I have a, sorry, my cat is playing in a box right now. Cats love boxes, y'all. If y'all have cats, you know this. But my girl Mina. But like if once you get started and you get in a role, then you start thinking about like, depending on the type of like, content creator you are and how much focus you want to give to the channel. Then you start thinking about the other things like, what do you want for your thumbnails? Do you want to link it to a Twitter? Do you want to start a Patreon at some point? Do you want to link it to Instagram? Uh, do you want to collaborate with other content creators? Do you want to have people on your channel? Like there are all these other things that you start thinking about. But for me, I didn't really start thinking about that until like I figured out what I wanted to do for the channel and I started putting out content. Once I started putting out content, then people were like, then I started getting contacted from certain people, and they were like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like when I started the channel, I was putting out like reviews of things, and then after a while, this guy, Dustin, right? Dustin Reacts. He wanted, he was like, hey, I see you were reacting to The Promised Neverland. Your content seems cool. Like, do you want to be on this channel? Like, and talk about, talk with other folks about it and stuff like that. And I was like, sure. And it was great because it was like, that was like the first time that I really sort of collabed with someone who was, a part of like the bigger sort of like community, like anime and like sort of manga community. And I also collaborated with this guy Manga, who I need to like get back in contact with. But like that was great because we like we both had channels, and I saw what he was doing and he saw what I was doing. He was like, yo, this is great. And so we would do like he would react to he would read Yu Yu Hakusho, and then I would read them in Wonderland, and we would talk about our thoughts about the series, and that was really fun. But then he moved to Japan, and then the time stuff just like was like a mess, and then we just kind of fell out of touch. But like that was fun, and we had reborn discussions, and that was fun, and like it was just like stuff like that happened very organically. So it's like stuff happens organically. That's what I would say. Like obviously you can do things to like push and like make things happen. And I think that's something I'm trying to do more now, because I think I'm more established. But like at the beginning, put out what you want to put out. Put out what you want to put out. Get do the content. Focus on the content. Focus on what you want to put out. And be as natural as you possibly can be. Be yourself. Be yourself. People who like, and people who, and the people who are great will, they'll gravitate towards that and they'll love that and they'll stick around, and it'll be great. So that's what I would say, I guess. And obviously if you want to think about certain things before you start the channel, if you want to think about thumbnails and stuff like that, that's fine. But usually what I've noticed is that when people think too much about the things that they need before they start their channel, they almost never start the channel, and they think and they get in their own way. The best thing you can do is just to kind of start, even if it's bare bones, and put out content. You know what I mean? And if it's me, like, and if you want me to be like someone that supports that, I will gladly support that. You know what I mean? Like if you're not like a scumbag, like I'll support it. Like I'll support y'all to the end. So like for my friend Justine, like if you want to start a YouTube channel, I'll support that. I'll support that. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Quick, fast, in a hurry. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be on the channel, I'll support that. Quick, fast, in a hurry. It's just like, cause why not? Why not? So I'm gonna end here because it's been like an hour and 13 minutes, and it's gonna be a super long rambling. Like I rambled for so long, but I just kind of wanted to put that out there, because it was just stuff that was on my mind, and I like to kind of get those things off and talk to people about it and see where y'all are coming from. And a lot of y'all in the chat, like I agree, like like Aga Rocks, like I agree with what you're talking about. I think like there's like a lot of like anime elitism. There's manga elitism too, but it's not as public. Not as public on YouTube. That's more like of a Twitter thing, you know what I mean? Like Alex, like you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely gonna check out. Alex said that. Let's talk about the elitism. Aga Rock's talking about the manga community being more mature. I'm not sure about that. I think like on the surface maybe. On YouTube I think so. Twitter not so much. I think Twitter it's like the anime and manga communities are both immature in different ways. Like I feel like there are a lot of people that I do talk to on Twitter that are very mature and are awesome, and they're like great friends of mine. But like, yeah, I'm gonna put out the Hikaru tweet. I'm gonna do that tonight for chapter 10. Because I did Nodame yesterday. So look forward to that. And yeah. You know, so I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. This is dope. It's always great to like talk with y'all about this stuff. You know. And again, expect another Hunter x Hunter, right? Expect another Hunter x Hunter stream this Saturday. We're going to get to the to the expedition and succession war topics. Like we're getting to that this Saturday. We're talking about it. That's what we're doing. All right. So expect that. Okay. We're gonna be talking about it. Come with questions. I'm gonna put out a tweet earlier so people are like ready with questions, because I feel like, you know, sometimes like for me, like, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm there early. I'm gonna make sure that I'm there on time, you know, and that I start earlier. You know what I mean? Twitter people are way worse when it comes to like the manga community. On YouTube, people are pretty nice and like cool, and I met some really great folks. You know what I mean? Shouts out to Mama Loves Manga. Shouts out to Simply G, Simply G. Like right, like shouts out to Dylan. Shouts out to, you know, a whole bunch of folks that I've met on through like MangaTube. You know what I mean? So like, a lot of folks that I really, really like. Shout out to Pluto Burns. Like, you know, like there are a few people. Jujutsu Kaisen, I want to do that sometime this week. I just don't know when. I wanted to kind of see if I could do it today, but I wanted to do this. So I was like, I'm going to do this. And I wanted to see if I could do that on Sunday, but I was so tired after the streams and like all the other stuff that I was doing. I was like, oh, I can't do it right now. Because I know that if I react to Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm going to read like 10 or so chapters. I'm going to read at least 10 chapters. At least 10 chapters. So I can't do it. I got to make sure that I pick a day where I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Tomorrow I have Battle Angel Alita. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is, what I might do is react to Battle Angel Alita and Jujutsu Kaisen tomorrow, because both of those are very like hype manga. Although they're both very good and like, you know, like they're not meathead manga though. I wouldn't call it that. It's kind of like a combination of both. But I think Alita's very very nuanced actually. So, you know, and Jujutsu Kaisen as well. So like, you know, tomorrow maybe I'm gonna try. You know? So is that. But like I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta go. I gotta rest my voice. Hello, Mina. What are you doing? Skulking around. Skulking kitty. Okay. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go. Right? It's like that's what happens when you react to something and it's like binge worthy, like Jujutsu Kaisen, Battle Angel Alita. Those mangas, like, you binge. Like, Paradise Kiss is also very binge worthy. Nana, binge worthy. Like, if you start Nana, you will not, like, you just won't stop reading. You won't stop reading. I guarantee it. I guarantee that to anybody. Anybody that tries to read Nana and just say, you know what, I'm only gonna read one chapter. Nope, not gonna happen. You're gonna read like 40 or 50 chapters. Well, not 40 or 50. You're gonna read like 20 chapters. We're like 20. And those 20 chapters have a lot in them. Like a lot. Like they're long chapters. So you're gonna read a bunch of stuff. You're gonna read a bunch. Alright. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. Shout out to Alex for coming through. Shout out to Aga Rocks for coming through. Shout out to Morning Haze, one of my patrons, for coming through. Shout out to Justine, of course, for coming through. The support means a lot. It's always great when folks come through. Shout out to Chris for coming through. All right. You know, like I'm definitely gonna like, you know, try to put out different types of content. I'm working on those at the moment, so you know, look out for different types of content that to come out this week. Got a Hunter x Hunter video that I'm working on that'll come out this week. Probably around the end of the week, probably like Friday, because just like thinking about like, you know, what I have left of it, and sort of just like recording that and all those types of things. Expect that to come out, and like and getting the panels and all that. Expect that to come out like probably on Friday, although it might come out maybe on probably Friday, because Thursday I'm going to be busy. Also expect a you know, and that's going to be on Patreon. Expect a Yona of the Dawn Volume 1 review. There's a bunch of things that I'm going to be coming out with. My Alita video is gonna be out on YouTube tomorrow because it's because patrons get 2 weeks early access. I put it out 2 weeks ago, so it's gonna be available tomorrow. And yeah, so subscribe if you want to, if you like the content, like the video. If you haven't liked the video, you know what I mean. But I don't really like the likes are like whatever. I don't really care about the likes. I think I'm just gonna stop asking for likes because I don't really care about the likes, but I appreciate them. But I'm not like, I got 80 likes. Like I don't. But the subscriptions are cool because I really like. For one reason, I just like having people to talk to. Like if you subscribe and you're a person that like is really like engages and like you're on the channel and you're like in the chat, love y'all to death because I love talking with y'all, right? And if you just subscribe and you watch and you're like sort of from afar, I love y'all too because sometimes you'll leave comments and stuff like that and it's really great and I love that. If you leave a comment, awesome. I love comments. All right, I love comments on the videos because I want to see if I can respond to them. And I'm gonna respond, and I've been trying to be better about responding. So if there are comments that I haven't responded to, I'm gonna try to respond to them tonight. And also check out the Patreon. I've got some videos on there. I'm gonna try to put out more Hunter x Hunter content on the Patreon. I'm gonna try to have like a Hunter x Hunter video out, every maybe like 2 weeks or something because it takes a while to like make videos and there are other videos that I'm working on and there are other things I'm doing. So I can't have like a Hunter x Hunter video out every week on Patreon, but I can try to have like, a video, like a sort of like topic video out maybe every 2 weeks, something like that. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Also check me out on Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot, but on Twitter I'm a lot more, I guess like, like I am who I am. I have like my views, I have my stuff. So if you want to follow. If you don't, it is what it is. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, follow me on Twitter. You know what I mean? That's fine. Twitter is like great. I have a whole bunch of people that I, a circle that I really talk to a lot. I love Twitter. I love being on Twitter with my friends. So, it's cool. But yeah. Oh, and the Patreon is like the lowest tier is $2. So if you want to support for $2, that'd be awesome. All right. So thank y'all for coming through. I'm gonna try to get to Jujutsu Kaisen tomorrow. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm working on my Hunter x Hunter video so I can get that out on Patreon as soon as I possibly can by Friday. All right. Yona of the Dawn Volume 1 I'm working on. I want to try to get that out this week as well. Although that will probably be out on the weekend, so like Saturday. All right. So thank y'all for coming through. Shout out to everybody in the chat that came through. All right. Alita is amazing. All right. Monster, I gotta start reacting to. So maybe like Saturday, I'll get back to it if that's something that you're interested in. All right. Oh man, yeah. Nana, Kitty, Crystal, Nana is it. I have never seen anybody that like I was like, start Nana. And was like, I didn't like it. I haven't met that person. Right? Even the people that love the just like, meathead, like, and we call it like the meathead type manga where they're just like, they love Nana. They're like, I wasn't expecting how good it was gonna be. I might have to put out a tweet. Just being like, folks gotta read Nana. Okay? And Alita's amazing. I love Battle Angel Alita. I love it. It's so good. I'm still reading it. I'm like, and like, shouts out to the folks that suggested Alita to me. Shouts out to Michael, my guy Michael, and Justine. Like, those two were on it. They were like, and they love Nana too. Like, they love Nana. So like, they were on it. So I had to read it and I love it. So thank y'all for coming through. All right. This is dope. I had a great time. I gotta go do some things. Paradise Kiss I'm reading now. I'm reacting to that right now on the channel. And I got to chapter 9. And like at like the first maybe like 2 or 3 chapters, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like Ayaza was starting a little bit little slowly. And then I got to like 4, 5, 6. Like I was like, the Ayaza greatness. And it was like, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. That's that Ayaza greatness that I know about. So right now I finished chapter 9. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna react to the rest of volume 1 on Thursday. So yeah. I'm still on Last Order 2. So, and I'm loving Last Order. Last Order is incredible. I loved the first part of Battle Angel Alita, but Last Order is so good. Like, it's like Kishida was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Period. And then he did it. And then he did it. Like he did that. He did that with Last Order. He did, and oh, so good. So I'm gonna start from chapter 10 for Paradise Kiss on Thursday, and I'm gonna start reacting to that. It's so good. I love it. I like, yo, it just got it like. At first I was like, this is cool, and it's not that messy yet because Ayazuwa manga are always so messy. And then it got so messy. It got so messy when in my last reaction, I was like, this is so good. I love it. So I'm definitely gonna get back to Paradise Kiss on Thursday. I'm gonna react to that, and I'm gonna finish volume 1. So I'm gonna read chapters 10 to 16. So I'm gonna read like 7 chapters that day, and then if I have to keep reading, I'll just read more. I don't know, but yeah, definitely gonna finish. I'm definitely gonna finish the first volume on Thursday, and then I'll start the second volume the following Thursday. And yeah. But it was so good. It's so good. It got so messy. I love it. So messy. Okay. All right. So let me get out of here. It is 9:28. I got a tweet about some Hikaru no Go because I love Hikaru no Go, and I've been rereading it. So I'm gonna retweet about chapter 10. I try to do one tweet every other day for Hikaru no Go, and the same for Nodame. So currently rereading Hikaru no Go. Check out my tweets on that. There is a reread thread, #Hikaru no Go reread. I'm gonna be doing chapter 10 tonight. And tomorrow I'm gonna I'm gonna tweet about chapter 3 for my Nodame Cantabile reread. #Nodame Cantabile reread. Okay, check those out. It's gonna be dope. All right, I gotta get out of here. All right. Also, very quickly, I keep saying I gotta get out of here, but one more thing. Also, check out. I have tweets on Twitter where I talk about I suggest a manga that people should read. #read them books. All right, some of y'all might know about it, some of y'all might not. But that's something that I do on Twitter. There's not a thread, but like if you type in #read them books, like it'll pop up and there'll be different suggestions. Those are like little sort of like videos that I put out. And also like I've started very recently sort of like poetry hashtag. It's called Poetry That Hits. So basically, every day probably like every day I'll tweet about. Every week I'll pick a poet that I really like, and I'll like tweet like a line or two from a poem that I think is really, really good, and lines that I thought were particularly powerful, and I'll just kind of like put that out there. So look out for that as well on Twitter. So Twitter, I have content on there too. It's just different. It's just different. All right, so let me get out of here. All right. Yeah, Akita is definitely. Akita is just like, he's like, hi, want to play some Go? And then he's like, I will hound you until the end of time. He's like, I will find you. Oh my goodness. And he yeah. All right. I love both of them. I love Hikaru. I love Akita. I love their relationship. It's great. It's not necessarily healthy. All right. But it's great because they push each other. They really do. They really push each other to be the best like Go players that they can possibly be. I love it. All right. And their relationship is also a little messy. It's also a little messy, and I like that. All right. And like this, oh, I'm not noticing you, but I'm really noticing you, like in that like really messy kind of way. And I like it. It's very funny. Because they're just like good boys. They're just good boys. All right. So let me get out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. I gotta go and reread chapter 10. Put out a tweet for that, and I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. Shouts out to everybody that came through. Shouts out to Crystal for coming through. All right. And I'm gonna get out of here. All right. I'm the Black Manga Critic. I'm out, ya.